Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about FAST. I wanted to open this presentation with a question, which is how do we make FAST faster? It's something we're working on really hard as an industry, particularly if you're a channel owner. But there are so many factors that actually affect how fast can go. And all of us here are really witness to this sort of complex ecosystem. It really operates behind the scenes, and all the sort of component parts need to work effectively together in order to deliver fast. Now that ecosystem and those component parts include things like content production and licensing, negotiating carriage deals over here, implementing data-driven both content and scheduling strategies, and then monetizing effectively. And it's this sort of ecosystem that needs to work seamlessly together to support the growing market. Our goal, it's to accelerate the efficiency by removing the burden for channel owners that makes FAST faster. So, in the following slides, I'll delve into the growth of FAST, where it falls down and where those challenges are, and what we can do to address those. User growth. It's projected to increase. We've all read Amagi's April edition of the Global FAST report. It basically references the eMarketer data that says by 2027, the number of US users is set to increase to about 115 million. Now, last year, there was about 100 million, so we're set to see that increase incrementally, right, about 15%. That's in the US, which then ends up being in 2027, as we know, about a third of the US population. Now, this is great. By the same token, PwC actually projects that cable subscriptions will fall below 50 million by 2027. And for context, last year, cable subscriptions were about 72 million. So we're set to see cable declined by about 30%. It was actually in 2019 that eMarketer predicted a 5-year downward trend to 2023. So at that time, they said, look, cable subscriptions are going to come in at 72.7 million. And given that last year was 72 million, they were pretty damn close. And look, we're clear on why we're seeing the increase on FAST and the decline on cable, right? We know it's a low barrier to entry. The combination of free but increasingly premium really is the sweet spot, and it's propelling user growth. Fast services, we know that user adoption is increasing. Fast services are also increasing. And this is a snapshot from Samsung's ads, their decoding fast report. I think it was in February or March this year. But it basically shows how the number of major fast services has continued to increase. And over here you can see that in 2019 there were 6. You could expect all the normal major players in there. You know, we've got the Plutos, the LGs, we've got the Vizios in there. And then by 2020, we see that increase by 100%, right? We're firmly into 13 providers and services. And here you can see some of the really large players again, but we're adding those like Freevee and Plex and Peacock. And that's a significant increase. We're also firmly into the pandemic by this point. It remains relatively flat over the 2 years that follow. A couple of new additions. We've got Local Now that added. 21 to 22 certainly was flat. And then we start to see that gently increase again. Now, you know, the interesting thing about this chart is that over a 5-year span, we're experiencing a 200% increase in these major services, which means that these don't even include the smaller players in the market. So we've seen users increase, we see services increase, and of course, we are also seeing an increase in the number of channels. Channels on these major services increased from, as you can see there, 614 to over 1,900. We're talking about a 200 and close to 15% increase. What's also interesting, some data from the Fastmaster, sorry about that formatting, that basically shows in the 12 months year-on-year growth between 23 and 24, we're seeing an increase in all of those major sort of services in terms of the number of channels that they're hosting. And this is interesting because bar the few at the bottom that we might expect that are seeing a decline in the number of channels, we can certainly see that a lot of the major platforms are continuing to increase the number of channels they operate. And this is a little bit contrary to what we experience in the market, because I think there is a fear of channels, you know, letting go of, a fear of platforms letting go of channels. So, what does it tell us, basically? I've shown you 3 slides on growth. It's basically telling us that we have a rapidly expanding and very competitive market, with all the key measures increasing, including ad impressions, we know that are up 35% year on year. Users are increasing due to fast services and channels increasing because, frankly, these services are now far more accessible across a range of TVs and devices. We're also seeing this trend in a number of territories, right, globally. So the point is that everything's moving towards the top right, and it's really positive. We know that the market is flourishing. However, we are also very aware of the fact that it's affected by challenges that we need to address. So, here are some main challenges, and this is certainly not a comprehensive list, but these are the challenges we experience in FAST. Monetization is falling short. Yes, ad impressions may be increasing, but we're still experiencing low fill, low CPM, and for many, we're not seeing the ROI yet. Budgets and resourcing, both on a commercial side of a business and also the editorial and production side of the business, are tight. It's easier perhaps for traditional TV and production, and maybe those launching single IP channels to bridge that gap. But it's very challenging for traditional publishing brands and digital-first producers who are actually programming on maybe a .com, maybe a number of growing social media platforms, and now they have another medium by which to attract eyeballs, but it's an entirely new environment to develop a programming strategy on. So, it takes us on to selection. We know that selection, platforms are discarding less popular channels in favor of those that are more premium and more engaging. We know it's competitive, right? Content has to be king, and we have to optimize our performance with premium content, which is certainly key. Discovery and recommendation. Now, it needs to catch up. Frankly, some might say it's disappointing. And it's disappointing maybe because we've been spoilt by the experience that we have on social media. We have recommended channels, recommended profiles, recommended reels. Everything is so customized, and it's very, very effective. Now, if discovery and recommendation doesn't catch up, we fall into the place of, oh, well, channels will start to be reduced and cut, and platforms won't be able to accommodate it. Nobody told YouTube to reduce the number of channels it operates, which I think at last count was about 38 million. So there's room for improvement here. And then the last one is really data. It's limited, right? Publishers and advertisers, they're restricted from the lack of data. It limits their ability to gauge reach and the impact of campaigns. It's a difficult one to crack, but I know that the market is working hard at this one. So this is where we come in. With VideoElephant's managed service for FAST. We know that it's a rapidly expanding market, it's riddled with challenges, and at VideoElephant we've sought to address as many of these challenges as we can by launching our FAST managed service that's basically designed to support content producers and publishers who are seeking to establish a presence on FAST, but also existing FAST channel producers who are really trying to navigate some of these challenges in the market. So we've launched this focus with a real, with a real focus on ROI, scalability, and cost efficiency for channel owners. So what does it look like? I'll start with content. We have one of the biggest editorial libraries in the world with over 5 million videos. We represent over 500 premium brands across 30 categories and also in 20 languages. We're growing at a rate of about 1,000 actually new assets daily across a range of different genres. Channel distribution, we can't guarantee channel distribution, right? But we'll act as an outsourced sales team. We're able to pitch your channel to a lot of the premium and key players in the market to ensure that you get carriage. Play out and scheduling, we're experts at this. We'll help with lineup creation, including series, ad break optimization as well. On the other side, we're a video strategy business, so we focus very much on audience development, content strategy to ensure high performance. We'll also put a heavy emphasis on metadata. We talked about discovery and recommendation, and we know that this is really key to driving discoverability on platforms. We also have friends, of course, GraceNote, who we work closely with, who we will also engage for channel owners. And then monetization. Monetization, we have an incredibly effective monetization team. We monetize over 100 million video views and hundreds and thousands of hours of viewing per month. And this is also across a very diverse set of channels and environments. So from FAST to digital, out of home and online. And because we have an understanding of sort of content and advertising, it ensures that we're delivering the inventory that brands want. Ultimately, our ambition is to address as many of these challenges faced by FAST channels with a focus on removing the pain points and driving ROI for channel owners. So, who's VideoElephant? Why should we work with you? I've talked about our library. Content is king. We can provide channel owners, prospective channel owners, with the breadth and the quality. We're a trusted partner to a huge number of content producers and publishers globally. We've been around for about 12 years, and we already operate in video distribution, monetization, and strategy across, as I mentioned, online, digital out of home, and fast. And of course, we have successfully launched and scaled 3 channels with 2 more in the pipeline. I'm now going to try and play a video so I can stop talking. It might illustrate it more clearly.
This is total immersion.
Aliens are here, period.
This is why we travel.
The Cannes Film Festival opens today.
So, in summary, how do we make fast faster? The market's growing globally. We recognize that the success of fast, it hinges on a well-coordinated, and I call it this efficient ecosystem, where each of those components works together seamlessly. And it's our mission to ease the workflow for channel owners by tackling the challenges that will ultimately make fast faster. If you'd like to know more about our managed service, please reach out to me at letsgofast@videoelephant.com. Thank you.